Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome to another match review. It's Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 2. Let's talk about the absolute atrocious disgrace that I've just seen in that game. It was rubbish. We were rubbish, lacked conviction, lacked pretty much anything, showed no signs of even coming close. We started off positively for the first 10 or 15 minutes, and after that, it just all fizzled out into nothing. 1.3 expected goals, 67% on the possession, 11 corners, nothing won from it, 17 shots on goal, but only 2 of them on target. Really sums up the game. Piss poor. The lineup to me confused me. Onana in net. I mean, I know we've got to keep starting with Onana. He's the number 1 goalkeeper, but I'm sorry. I think he can do more. I don't like Onana. I think he's one of the worst goalkeepers, if not the worst goalkeeper I've seen put on a Manchester United shirt in the last 10 years of watching them. The back three today: Maguire and Yoro. Yoro for that second goal, just he's running back but waving to the linesman, hoping that the linesman's going to help him and Maguire. Maguire dreadfully slow. Martinez gets taken off injured. Didn't even particularly look like it wasn't a bad challenge from Sarr. It wasn't a particularly bad landing. I just think he's injury prone with his legs. Spent pretty much all of last season out injured and is going to be out injured, you would say, for the whole season this year, if not going into next season, which means another player that unfortunately, a player I think we should be looking to ship off. I don't think he's the statue of defender you need in the Premier League, but unfortunately, he's going to be here for another year because he'll be injured during the summer and he'll just come waltzing right back in, probably about Christmas time if he's done his ACL. Midfield 4, Dalot and Mazraoui as wing-backs. Well, you already know what I think about both of them. I think they're both piss poor. And the midfield 2 today, Ugarte and Fernandes. I mean, Fernandes tries. He tries. I don't think he's as good as he was 3 or 4 seasons ago. But he tries. He tries, and he tries, and he tries, and he just gets nothing. He gets absolutely nothing. He can make as many forward passes as he wants to. He created 2 chances, had 86 chances, or created 86 passes, had a shot on target, 14 passes into the final third, 2 out of 13 on accurate crosses, 7 out of 13 on accurate long balls. I mean, he tries and he tries and he tries, but for me, I just think it's odd that you're playing Fernandes in that defensive position. I think that, would you not be better trying a game with Ahmad at the right wing back to try and at least create some attacking threat from wide areas? Because all that happens when we have Dalot and Mazraoui, who are so reluctant to stay wide and like to tuck in, all you're getting is Garnacho and Ahmad then creating your natural width, coming inside, and then you've stuck poor Mainu, who's had an absolute rotter of a game apart from the first 10 or 15 minutes. He was absolutely stinky. And that's because he had one good game. I don't like to say bad things about the coach, but I've got a question. He had one good game at playing at number 10 against Stout Bucharest, who would struggle to get promoted in the Championship, and then decides, you know what? Instead of trying something different, and instead of trying maybe dropping Mazraoui back into the back 3, or just don't play Mazraoui at all, instead of putting Ahmad over at right wing back to try and at least create some attacking threat down the right hand side, what I'm going to do, and then put Mainu at the 10, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to play Mazraoui at right wing back, even though he can't play there and cannot create natural width there at all and has no attacking threat. I'm going to continue to put Ahmad down on the right hand side, and he's going to have to make all the natural width, which means he's not getting into the box enough, and I'm going to stick Mainu at fucking false 9. Mainu at false 9 did not work, and the manager, as much as I'm going to back him, and it's not his fault necessarily, it is his fault putting Mainu at false 9. You could have at least put one of Garnacho or Ahmad up front, and then let Mainu stay in the 10. Or even better, put Fernandes at one of the 10s. Or put Fernandes as the false 9, stick Mainu in the midfield too, and just say, you go forward. Leave Agate, you go forward with the other 2. Or the other 3. But no, he starts poor Mainu in a false 9, and it didn't work. However, it's not all his fault that at Manchester United, we have got £100 million plus invested in 2 strikers who are as useless as a boiling hot chocolate teapot on a boiling hot day. They provide absolutely nothing. They both came onto the pitch in 70 minutes, and for 20 minutes they did absolutely nothing. It is like watching 2 rambling giants just plod around the pitch. They do nothing. Bruno's putting balls into the box. Rasmus is nowhere to be seen. Xerxes is nowhere to be seen. And I just think, how did we spend so much money on Rasmus and Xerxes? Surely time for both of them has got to be up in the summer. Surely. Because we do not have the players to even remotely try and see if these 2 players are going to be good enough in the Premier League. Because there's no guarantee that any player is good enough for the Premier League. They've come over from the Italian League, which is a slow league. That's why the likes of Scott McTominay has gone over there and has looked brilliant, but in the Premier League looked completely out of his depth. The quality over there, the speed of the play, the intensity of the game is so entirely different. It's incomparable. You can't compare the 2. But for some reason, they are still trying. We have brought in 2 strikers that need the ball. They need chances given to them. They can't create a chance for themselves. You can't pass them the ball and they're going to move along and try and shuffle and get a goal for themselves. They're not going to try and get a goal for themselves. They need balls into them. And they've got 2 players next to them in Ahmad and Garnacho, either one of them who's starting. When you've got those 2 there, they are not going to create you chances. They are there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to get shots on goal. Garnacho is not a creative player. Ahmad is not a creative player. In fact, we have no creative players on the pitch apart from Bruno Fernandes. Dalot is not a creative player. Mazraoui is not a creative player. Dalot used to be a creative player, but he needs to be on his more natural side. He needs to be at the right wing back. Why not try swapping Mazraoui and Dalot for a game if you're that insistent in playing them? You know what I mean? Because the front 3 today were a piece of piss. I mean, Ahmad tried. He tried. He couldn't do it. He can't do it by himself. I already touched on Mainu. He was piss poor. Garnacho, if you thought Mainu was piss poor, Garnacho was also totally out of his depth. A player that Amorim wants to keep and is desperate to keep. But when you're putting in performances like that, this is a player now this is his 2nd full year in the first team. I'm expecting some end product and it's just not there. And I understand that this team at the moment is a really hard team for young players to come through. It's a really hard team for young players to look good in. Because the team is just not good. The team is crap. We lack character, we lack desire, we lack leadership. It lacks everything. The squad is an absolute joke. The squad has been an absolute joke, and it's a product of years of not just lack of investment. Because lack of investment isn't the problem. The investment side of things, money has been invested. But money has been invested into absolute rubbish. 70 million on Casemiro, up to 70 million on Rasmus Højlund, 80 million pound on Anthony, 45 million pound on Martinez, who hasn't been 100% fit, I don't think, in months, if not over a year. 80 million pound on Maguire, 60 odd million pound on Euro, 40 odd million pound on Onana. Big money on Ugarte. You know, it's not that the money hasn't been spent. The money has been spent. But it's all been pissed up the wall on the wrong thing. And even the players that have come in for Ineos. I need to take a drink. Even the players that have come in, bought by Ineos. De Ligt has been a plus. Mazraoui, I think he's been a miss. I think people thought he was going to be a hit. I think he's been a miss. Jury's still out on Ugarte. Some matches he looks good, some matches not. For me, Ugarte needs a midfield partner, and we don't have that partner for him. Xerxes, a complete and total flop. Euro, for me at the moment, shouldn't be starting for Manchester United. I think he would have been better by sending back on loan to France. But we can't do that. We couldn't do that because we're at the stage now where we're desperate for players. So we don't have that luxury where we can buy a player, a young player, and think, maybe they're not quite ready for Manchester United yet. So let's send them out on loan somewhere and we can see where they're at. We can't do that because we're desperate for players. We're desperate. We're desperate. We're overpaying. Clubs know we're going to overpay. Now, I hope Dorgu comes in and looks good. But he's not going to change this team at all. In the hindsight of things. There is so much wrong with the team at the moment. There is so much broken. It's like buying a broken car that's got no doors, no wheels, no seats. And all you've bought is a steering wheel. You've got a chassis and you've got a steering wheel, but you've got nothing else in your car. You've got no doors, wheels, engine, exhaust, brakes, gearbox. You're missing everything, and we've just bought a steering wheel. No forward signed. Rashford now has gone to Villa on loan. Fantastic. But where's the replacement for him? We can't afford to lose Rashford and not replace him. Where is the attacking? We are so lacking a player that can score goals. Because Rasmus and Xerxes, they are not it. They have had their chances. For me, the manager is right to be done with them. Jury's out. I wouldn't even give them out. I would say jury's finished. And jury says you're both guilty of being a footballing fraud and you need to be moved on. The game was an absolute fucking disgrace. We were piss poor. We deserved to lose. And listen, Crystal Palace are too good for us to beat right now. The only teams we're going to be competing with this season, where you can see some points, is maybe Wolves, Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, maybe West Ham. And maybe if we play one of the top teams, you might pick up a point or two there, a lucky draw, where we might snatch a goal and beat Liverpool, or snatch a goal and draw with Arsenal again. I don't know. But all in all, it was another piss poor performance. Questionable things happening in the squad selection. But the manager has come in, and his first transfer window for me hasn't been successful. The club, we as a club, are not within the financial means to back a manager of this, and it would put question marks to me as to why Manchester United have signed a manager whose style of football is so different to what we've been playing over the last couple of managers, which is 4-2-3-1 defensive counter-attack football. We're now playing 4-3-3 on the front foot. Not 4-3-3, 3-4-3 on the front foot, high pressing. We haven't got players good enough to do that, and we haven't got the manager. We haven't got the money to back the manager to give him the players to do that. And the only players we can sell are the players that the manager wants to keep. For me, the situation is way so big and out of control now. I don't know where to go next. I don't look forward to Manchester United games. I don't like watching Manchester United. It's an absolute terrible situation. And that's my thoughts on the whole game. It was rubbish. But guys, let me know what you thought about the game in the comments down below. Give us a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.